Hi, everybody, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Sorry, I'm running about a minute late today. But anyway, without further ado, why don't we get started? I'm going to turn my phone on silent, but keep it here so I can see the time. And one sec, my yoga block is over there for some reason. Um, my name is Dr. Debbie Pates, and I am a psychologist at the UCCS Wellness Center, and this is Wellness Wednesday Virtual Yoga at GOCA, a joint production of the Wellness Center and the Gallery of Contemporary Arts, which is also on University of Colorado Springs campus, currently closed, like the rest of campus. Why don't we just get started and do some yoga? I'd like to start in a seated position today, which is one reason why I wanted to go ahead and get my block. You don't have to sit on a block if you don't want to. You might sit on a cushion or a towel. The reason I like to sit on a block is because my knees are then lower. It elevates my pelvis and my knees are lower than my hips, and that's more comfortable for me. We're not going to stay here that long though, but please come to a seated position. You could be sitting on your knees, any sort of seated position, and just close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or perhaps just softly gaze a few feet in front of you and begin to tap into your breath, inhaling and exhaling through your nose if you can do that. Please know that everything I say throughout this class is a suggestion, and if it works for you, then go ahead and do it. And if you have a different version of that pose, or you know that it's not going to work for you, then do the different version or just skip the pose. Breathe and let your body sit, let your body ground. Maybe begin to bring awareness to places where your body is contacting the floor, whatever it is that you're sitting on. Bring awareness to places where your body is touching itself. So if you're sitting cross-legged or on your knees, parts of your legs are going to be touching each other. Perhaps your hands are gently clasped or fingertips touching. Maybe your hands are on your thighs. Maybe other parts of your body are touching, depends on what position you're in. Just bring awareness to that without judgment. It isn't about it needing to be anything. It's just about noticing. Keep your breath flowing, maybe noticing the movement of the breath in your body and the changing shapes that the breath brings to your body. So the rise and fall of stomach, chest, maybe sensations in back and ribs. And then with that same gentle curiosity and hopefully lack of judgment, bring some awareness to areas of your body that might be holding tension. Your jaw, shoulders, neck, back. Some people hold tension in hips, legs. Doesn't matter, there's no right place to hold tension. Unfortunately, we all do it though. And once again, we're heading into another period of change. Here in Colorado, El Paso County, where Colorado Springs is, we were allowed to open up restaurants, and it looks like next week the whole state's going to be doing that, and who knows what that's going to bring. It's exciting, it's scary, whatever it is for you. Just notice how that showed up when I said those words. And please breathe. Drop your chin to your chest. you want to, take your hands and put them behind your head, clasp them with thumbs roughly at the base of your hairline. You can do that. Reconnect with a tall spine, allowing the weight of your hands, if they're there, to just deepen the stretch. But you don't need to deepen the stretch if you feel enough sensation simply by dropping your chin to your chest. Enough is enough, right? You don't need more than enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough, right? Roll your head to the right so that your right ear is coming towards your right shoulder. Reconnect with a tall spine. Breathe. Breathe a few breaths here. Suss it out. So you're looking for a nice stretch down the side of your left side of your neck. Maybe you roll your head, your chin down a little bit, or your chin up a little bit. Find somewhere that you feel something. And if you can't find somewhere you feel something, take the stretch deeper. Maybe putting your right hand gently on the top of your head, maybe pushing out through the heel of your left hand. Keep breathing. So if you notice that the breath catches at all, you've probably gone too far. And then just back off. If your hands are in any position aside from on your lap, release them. Roll your chin back center, come to the other side. Reconnect with a tall spine as you drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. Maybe, again, look up, look down. So, right, you might find it in a different position than normal. And that's why we play around with this. And then again, right, if you need more, I don't need more on this side, then you can put your left hand on top of your head. You can push out through the base, the heel of your right hand. And breathe. Breathe into whatever it is that you're feeling. Whatever it is, don't judge the sensations. And then bring your head back to center and begin to make neck rolls in one direction, going at your speed. So as quickly or as slowly as you feel is right for you right now. Noticing snap, crackles, and pops. Noticing whether there's a spot you might want to stop and roll back and forth a little bit. And the next time you get your chin to your chest center, switch directions. No hurry. No need to stress about this. Be present with what's showing up for you and try to have a curiosity rather than a judgment toward whatever's showing up. And then come on back center, lift your chin level. Begin to roll your shoulders forward, up, and back. Making as big circles as feels nice, maybe really big, maybe even exaggerating, right? So it's getting the spine involved as well, not just a shoulder roll. Let it feel good. Things are opening up and we're getting more active in this beautiful warm weather, but we're still using our bodies a lot differently than we have been, a lot more sitting. And then come on back to neutral and maybe just sit up tall for a breath or two. Notice whether you perceive any changes in your energy, and if you do, good. If you don't, good. Just noticing. And then let's begin to move. So if you're on a block, please remove your block and come into hands and knees position and move through some cat-cows. So on your inhale, drop your stomach, lift your gaze, tilt your tailbone up. And then as you exhale, round chin to chest, push up through your shoulder blades, tuck your pelvis, tuck your tail. Inhale, drop and lift, exhale, round and lift in a different way. And think about, a lot of times, this cat-cow movement, we kind of originate it from our butt and our head. Maybe think about trying to originate the movement from your mid-back, so that the back leads and the head and the tailbone come last. Just exploring what it feels like. It probably isn't going to look really very different, but exploring how it feels to sort of set a different intention as you move into the posture. Of course, adding any other side-to-side movements that might feel good to you here. Maybe rocking forward and back, maybe dipping your shoulders a little bit. And then speaking of dipping your shoulders, keep your knees and your hips in the position that they are. We're going to do some thread the needle shoulder openings. So hips stay over your knees and let your head come to the ground. So an extended child's pose, also called Anahata Asana, heart opening pose. And first hang out here a minute. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Let your chest kind of hammock down there. So the arms are active in this posture. And then take your body's not real warm, so you may not go as deeply as you normally do. Take your left hand and slide it underneath your right armpit. Come on to your left ear. Or maybe you stay on you keep your forehead on the ground. But you want to come on to your left, outside of your left shoulder. And forehead on the ground is going to square your shoulders a little more. It's going to give you a different opening and a different twist. Neither is right. It's just which one feels nicer for you today. Maybe even experiment. And then decide. Back to center. Same thing other side. Slide your right hand underneath your left armpit. Come on to your right ear or your forehead. Come onto the outside of your right shoulder. And you might shimmy your hips around. I can only talk you into a certain amount of this position, and then you need to find it in your own body. So moving in whatever direction you need to, shifting a little bit to get that nice stretch through your right shoulder here. And then come back, center. Extended child pose, Anahata, and you're in a really nice position here to just tuck your toes and lift your hips and come on into down dog. Pedal it out. Keep it gentle. Right? We don't want to push our bodies into anything, especially if you have an injury or you're tired from doing hard workouts, or maybe you're just tired because change is happening all the time and it's sort of exhausting after a while. Maybe you had big news this week, good or bad, right? All of these things take our energy. So balance your yoga practice with the amount of energy that you have. This is an active posture, but almost a resting posture at the same time, down dog. If you've been moving around in dog here, come to stillness. The only thing that continues to move is your breath. Maybe if you know what Ujjayi breathing is and you want to do that, hearing that oceanic breath sound, or just breathe. Take a bunch of baby steps and come to the top of your mat. And when you get to the top of your mat, hanging ragdoll, let your head be heavy, knees soft, you can sway, you can bend elbows and tuck hands and crook of opposite elbow. And maybe here, this is a little counterintuitive at first sounding, but think about engaging your stomach muscles, even in this bent over posture.
engaging your stomach muscles. And if you can get any engagement at all, what you might feel is a little bit of a loosening in your low back so that your head comes a little bit closer to the floor. Release your hands. You can bring awareness to your feet and decide, do you want to keep your feet hip width? Do you want to bring your big toes together? And with an engaged stomach, come up with a flat back all the way to standing. The back is flat, but your knees might be a little bent. When you get to standing, bring your hands up, overhead, bring your palms together, and pull that energy into your heart. Pause for a breath or two. Feel if your hands are not at your heart, bring them there just for a moment and allow your thumbs to rest against your sternum. Try to find your heartbeat. And just stand with your heartbeat and your breath. Maybe your eyes closed. Imagine somebody's gently taking the hair, if you have any, on the crown of your head and pulling up. If you don't have hair, imagine a golden thread right by your spine coming up, making you taller, creating space. Again, it may not look like much, but grow taller, create space for possibility. Let's do a little bit of flowing here. Sun A, start with the modified version. Inhale your arms up. Grab your left wrist with your right hand. Pull up, get length in your left side, and then push your left hip out as you pull your left hand over to the right. Only go as far as you can go while still breathing. You might feel a stretch all the way down the side of your body, maybe even in your left leg. Only go as far as you can continue to breathe freely. Come on back up. Separate your hands. Inhale. Lift your heart. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Cactus your arms. Inhale. Arms back up. Grab your right wrist with your left hand. And as you push your right hip out to the right, pull your right hand over to the left. And really be sensitive to your body. Right? So I dropped something on my back, and it fell on my back. You can't really drop something on your own back. And I'm feeling it, right? So I'm not going as far on this side. Well, I guess I was going to say it's not good or bad. I guess it's good, right? You listen to your body. You don't want to be injured, but you don't want to make your injury worse either. Come on back to center again. Cactus your arms one more time. A little bit of a back bend in your upper back here. And then inhale your hands up, and we're going to bow forward, either swan dive or hands through heart center. Come down to the flat back. Halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Put your hands on your shins or on the floor, maybe your thighs. Exhale and fold. Sweep your arms up, engage your core. Rise with a flat back. Bring your hands together overhead. And pull that energy into your beautiful beating heart. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, forward fold, moving into Sun A. Half lift. Fold, hands down, step back, high plank. Knees on or off the floor, lower halfway or all the way, chaturanga, or laying on the floor. Upward, facing dog or cobra. Pull your shoulders back and your heart through. Lift your hips, roll over your toes. Send your hips up, down dog. Push into your hands. Let your heels sink. Push your kneecaps toward the back of your neck. Engage your quadriceps. Let your shoulders go down your back. Roll your forearms toward each other and roll your biceps up toward the sky. Maybe think about rolling your inner thighs up. If this doesn't make sense to you, let it go. Just be in downward facing dog. Look in between your hands. Step to the top of your space. Jump, hop, whatever you like. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep up. Rise, hands together overhead, and pull that energy into your heart. Arms up. Fold. Lift. Plank. Chaturanga or the floor. Heart forward, shoulders back. Downward facing dog. Do that one more time, but first take a couple of breaths here. So you know where we're going, but don't be in a hurry to get there. Be in a hurry to be exactly where you are. We miss the present because we plan for the future, or we, rehash the past, rehashing or rehearsing, but we're missing the now. So be in the now with whatever it is that's showing up. Even if it's agitation or discomfort, be with it. We're going to move now anyway. Yeah, look in between your hands and step, jump, hop, whatever you like, top of your space. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out and fold. Breathe in and rise. Breathe out and bring your hands into your heart. Breathe in and lift your arms up. Breathe out and fold. Breathe in and lift halfway. Breathe out and take it to plank and then all the way down. Exhale, chaturanga over the floor. Breathe in, cobra or up dog, and breathe out, downward facing dog. Look to the top of your space and make your way there. Halfway lift, inhale. Breathe out, exhale. Rise all the way up, engage your stomach, flat back. Hands overhead. Together to your heart. How you doing on living from your heart? Inhale your arms up. Utkatasana chair. Biceps maybe by your ears. Breath is primary. So whatever you need to do, position-wise, to be able to continue to breathe. And I would suggest that you do that regardless of whose practice you're following, right? The teacher. You are the teacher is really what I'm getting at. So sometimes you'll hear a teacher say, bend your knees to 90 degrees. Ooh-wee. Well, maybe you can't breathe very well when you do that, right? So then you're not doing yoga. You're doing a test of athleticism. And that's okay. But what's your goal? Forward fold. Is your goal yoga? So if that's your goal, halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold, step back, high plank. Then you need to be able to breathe. Chaturanga or all the way to the ground, upward facing dog or cobra, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up and bend the knee, open up your hips. Make big circles. If you don't usually make big circles with your knee, try it today. And really get that opening in your hip. That feels so nice. And then bring your right leg back and just put it down and switch sides. Let your right heel sink down when you lift up your left leg. And then bend your knee, open up your hip. And rather than going for exaggerated opening of the hip, go for exaggerated circling of the knee. Maybe one direction, maybe the other. And just notice how it feels in your hips. Left leg down. Look in between your hands and bring your right foot near your right hand. You want to get your heel and your knee lined up. Drop your left knee onto the ground and come on up. First, bring your hands to your right thigh. And kind of, if you need to pad your knee, you can roll your mat to the side a little bit like that. Bring your hands to your thigh and pull your right hip crease back as you push your right thigh bone away from you and sink into your right knee so that you open up in that left hip flexor. And pay attention to what's going on in your shoulders, right? So I'm noticing a little tension in my shoulders here. So I'm going to work on releasing that. And then maybe you want to lift your arms. You don't have to. You can keep the engagement on your thigh. Breathe. Really feel what's going on in your right thigh, your left hip flexor. Breathe, 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 breathe. And then bring your hands down, one on either side of your right foot. Tuck your left toes, lift your left knee, turn your left foot flat, okay? And have your right hand, you might want to have a block if you have a block. Have your right hand either on the inside or outside of your right foot and roll open into extended side angle. And I want you to have your hand on the floor. Well, you can do whatever you want. I can't even see what you're doing. So I don't care what you're doing. But I'm suggesting that you have your hand on the floor, which is not usually how I teach this posture. Maybe you have your hand on the block. Maybe you still use the leverage from your hand, wherever it is, to allow your chest to open up. Inside of your leg, outside of your leg with your hand, your chest opening. And then bring your bicep by your ear and reach from the edge of your left foot through your left fingertips. Breathe, breathe. And then bring your hand down to the ground. Come up on your left toes. Remove the block for a second. If you had it, step back, high plank. Knees on or off the floor, as always. Chaturanga or the floor. Up dog or cobra. Maybe you feel a difference. One hip to the next. Downward facing dog. Lift your left leg. And bring it through. Place it next to your left thumb. And if you can't get it there by just stepping and scoot it up, knee and heel in line, drop your right knee, pad it again if you need to. And then first, grab your block, have it close to you. First, climb up onto your left thigh. And the same thing. So your left hip crease comes back a little bit and push. And then you check your shoulders. Push your thigh forward. So looking for some movement, not really movement, but hip. The hip is what we're going for here. And then if you want, so there's engagement in the shoulders, right? But you don't want tension. And then if you want, allow your arms to rise. Sink deeper. All of this is, those if you want. The side perhaps different than the other side, okay? Just is, again, that going for that non-judgmental awareness, stepping out of the story. Bring your hands down. Tuck your right toes, come up on your right, or come off your right knee. Spin your right foot flat, and again, choose. We're going to come into extended side angle. Left hand, I'm suggesting today down, in or outside of the floor, in or outside of the foot on the floor, or a block. Roll your right side open. So for me, this feels a lot less free. Right? I'm working a bit harder. My body's a bit more compacted. But we try different things. Right? Do the same old thing. What is that? Do what you always did, get what you always got. Bicep by your ear. Reaching from the edge of your right foot through your right fingertips, maybe rolling your chest open. Everybody's body's different. We're all going to feel different in this posture. And then bring your hand down to the floor. Step your left foot back to plank and make your way to downward facing dog. Drop your knees. Come on into child's pose for a breath or two, or 3, or 4. And think about your story, right? We have stories, and some of these stories are the true facts of our lives. I was born in Portsmouth, Virginia on a naval base. There's an interesting little fact about me. Okay, so fine, that's true. But then there's the story around all of that, maybe not that, but the story about who you are in the world and who you are in your relationships. And what if we could, and how your body shows up, and the story about this injury or that injury, or the story about what you can or can't do. And think about how much that impacts you. And I wonder what might happen if we could step away from story and just actually see what shows up. So maybe playing with that a little bit as we continue in the practice. From downward facing dog, come up just to your knees for right now. I meant from child's pose, sorry. Come up to your knees and separate your feet wider than your hips and sit with your butt in between your heels. So again, if this is enough, mazel tov, you made it, you're there. You have achieved sensation. If it's too much, you might come forward, you might sit on a block, or you've probably done it already. If this is what your body likes, you can come back. And maybe you come all the way to laying on your back. Please keep your knees on the ground. They can separate, but please keep your knees on the ground to keep them healthy. If you're laying all the way on your back, maybe clasp opposite elbow on the floor above your head. Opening up the whole front side of your body. Really vulnerable posture here. How does it feel? How does it feel to be allowing your soft belly to be exposed, your heart to be exposed, physically opening up your thighs here. Give you stretch in the quadriceps, give you stretch in the knees. That is, for some people, pretty intense, which is why you might be leaning forward instead. So you judge what's right for your body today and in general. I don't know that. In fact, I don't always know what's right for my own body until I start my practice. And that's where the non-judgment starts to come in, and the stepping out of the story about what it means that I can or cannot do this posture very well today, or that I can do it. Wow, look at me, smoking. All right, come on up. Gently, gently come to your hands and your knees. Take your time to get there. And then when you get to hands and knees, tuck your toes, lift your hips, down dog. So move your feet back, whatever you need to do to get to downward facing dog. Navel in towards your spine. Hands are firm on the earth. Look in between your space and make your way to the top of your space. Bring your big toes into touch. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep your arms up and rise with a flat back. Hands overhead. And as you bring your hands into your heart squat, in the Utkatasana, pause here a moment. Hands at your heart. And then turning, we're going to go into a side twist, but what I would suggest that you try, well, obviously always do whatever you want, but maybe start turning, twisting, really, really mindfully with your muscles, bringing your right elbow toward your left knee, really working your abdominal muscles here, and then allow your elbow to rest. Bring your right knee back in line with your left. Push your push your knees into your hands into your knee, and at your elbow. Try to get your chest toward the side rather than facing the floor. Breathe into whatever it is that's showing up. Breathe into your kidneys here at the back of your low back. And then release. I should have said if you have a strap to get it, take a little break. If you have a strap, grab your strap. You can always use a necktie, or if you don't have a strap, don't worry about it very much. But from a forward folding position, come on back to your forward fold position. Take your strap and put it over or under the ball arch of your left foot. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Soften your right knee and stand up and bring the leg with you. Utthita Hasta, no, that's right. Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. That's what this is called in Sanskrit. Try to get your back straight. So you're standing up tall rather than kind of coming forward. And you're using the strap. Maybe some people can just grab their toe and have your leg straight out. You can also grab your knee and do this posture if you don't have a strap or you don't want to use the strap. Start to take your left leg out to the left. Bring your right arm out to the right. Continuing to stand up tall, and if you want, maybe you will balance, look at your right hand. Bring your gaze and your left leg back to center. Keep your arms up and release the strap. Keep your legs up, rather. And notice the tendency here to lean back. So again, try to come to standing tall, straight up with your leg up. However high, it doesn't matter. It could be an inch off the ground. And then without touching your leg, if you can, come to airplane. So bring your left leg behind you and your arms behind you. A little bit of up dog in your torso. So your shoulders are back. Your heart is open. Engage your core. Let your left leg be lifting itself. And then come on down. Bring your hands to the ground, standing splits. Left leg is up. And then drop your left leg behind your right. And try to get your pinky toes toward touching. And it's you might put your hands on a block here. Big stretch for your sciatic nerve down the back of your leg. And if this is very, very intense, then come up more. Right? So have your hands on your block or your water bottle, whatever. But don't strain. Don't strain. How's your neck? How's your jaw, your teeth? And then roll up, roll up. Shoulders up and back and down, and bring your big toes back to touch. Inhale your arms up. Chair. Let's do it the same way. Bring your hands together. Bring your hands to your heart. And as you sink into the chair, use your muscles, your abdominal muscles, to twist towards your left, towards your right. Left elbow comes to the outside of right ear or whatever. It is opposite of what you did last time. Bring your knees into line with each other. Maybe your neck permits you to look up. Maybe that doesn't feel very nice. Try to get your chest, your heart coming to the side rather than pointing at the ground. Try. And then release. We're going to do the same thing other side. So take your strap or not. Maybe you grab your big toe. Bring your left hand to your left hip. If you have a strap or if you have your toe, you got that with your right hand. And then without thinking about it a whole lot. Soften your left knee, stand up, and bring your right leg with you. Again, wanting to come to a tall spine. So the tall spine is primary. Woo, I just looked at the camera and lost my balance completely. Stand up tall. You have the strap where you have your knee. Your right leg is extended forward, and then begin to bring your right leg out to the right. Maybe you extend your left hand. Maybe you look over at your left thumb. Please breathe. Center, release the strap, keep your leg up, and then come back into airplane. So you just as gracefully as you can, bring your leg and your arms back, bring your torso forward. Breathe. And then lifting, your arms are lifting, your legs is lifting, and then bring your hands to the floor just for a moment or two and stand and split. Drop your right leg behind your left, pinky toes touch, sciatic stretch, use your block if you need to. Breathe into the sensation rather than tightening around it, right? So that's all sort of imaginary, but try not to tense up. Try to use the breath to allow softening to happen. Roll up. Shoulders up and back and down. Bring your hands up overhead. Bring your hands together. Bring your hands to your heart. Uncross your feet if you haven't done that already. Let's do a couple balancing poses. Let me check our time. Okay. Big toes touching. Inhale your arms up. Chair. Eagle. Right arm under, right leg up and over. Bring your elbows up. Bring your hands away from your face. Squeeze your thighs together. Maybe sink down a little more. Release, stand up, arms up overhead. And just go right into it on the other side. Chair, left arm under, left leg up and over. And maybe the same thing. Lift your elbows, move your hands away from your face. Squeeze your thighs together. Noticing but not being reactive to differences on each side. Stepping out of that story. Come on, back up. Inhale your arms up. Bring your hands up together overhead and pull your energy into your heart. Tree pose. Pick a leg. So wherever version you want to do of tree, remember that tree is a hip opener. So you want your knee going out to the side. Come on into tree on one side. Maybe take a different version. Maybe take a softer version. Right? If you always bring your foot all the way up to your inner thigh, maybe don't do that this time. Or maybe the opposite. Maybe you always have your toes on the ground. And today you want to challenge your balance a little bit more. Do what feels right. Do what feels kindest to yourself. And sometimes kindness means pushing, and sometimes kindness means backing off. Anything you want with your arms if you haven't done that already. And if your hands stayed at heart center, maybe that's what you wanted today. A couple more breaths here. So if you do say, oh yeah, I did want to switch arm position, go ahead and do that. If you've already fallen out, you can come back in, or you can just take a break. And release. Shake
kick out your standing leg if you need to, and tree switch sides. Notice if you started to slouch down a little bit, so engage your core. Stand up tall again. Knee goes out to the side. So I don't know if you'd call it a hip opener in the same way pigeon is per se, but it's an open hipped position, right? So the hip point of your standing leg is facing forward, but you're, at least energetically, the hip point of your up leg is turning out. Switch arm positions if you want, if you haven't. Always, it's a little late for me to talk about drishti, one point of focus, release. And let's make our way to the ground. Come to the top of your mat. Inhale your arms up. Fold. Half lift. Plank. Chaturanga. Heart forward, shoulders back. Down dog. And speaking of hip openings, pigeon. Bring your right knee behind your right wrist. Walk your left knee back a little bit if that is what feels nice to you. Maybe for this practice, maybe, if you want, bring your right knee out a little bit more than you normally do. Just switching it up a drop and then come on down to your degree. Maybe you let your head rest. Maybe you put your head on a block or stack one hand or fist on top of the other. Maybe your head's on the floor, but my head can go on the floor, but I don't always like to do that. Sometimes I like to prop up a little more, whichever feels right to you. Let your teeth separate. Let your jaw be soft, your face be soft, your breath be steady. It would be nice if it were so easy, right, to say steady breath, steady mind. It's not that easy, but that is the first step. It really is. With steady breath, steady mind. The more we become aware of our breath, the more awareness we also have of our mental state. So even breath, indicative of a calm place. Choppier breath, indication of a bit more turbulence going on. And that's okay, right? We have turbulence in our life. So it's not about, oh gosh, I'm a bad person. It's about, how can I be kind to myself? Look at what my breath is telling me. And maybe that's partly by trying to even out the breath, but maybe it's by saying, oh yeah, I got a lot going on right now. Maybe I'll be nicer to myself. If you're not already on your hands or elbows or whatever, push up and sit over onto your right hip. Swing your right leg around in front of you and bring your, or left leg, sorry, and bring your right leg out in front of you as well. Bring your hands together in front of you, sit up tall, move forward, and then roll down as slowly as you can. And when you get all the way down onto your back, bend your knees. We're going to do a flowing bridge pose, or you could do whatever version of bridge you like, but bring your hands by your sides, palms down. And as you push into your feet and lift your hips, bring your arms up and all the way up overhead and onto the floor so that your hands touch the floor at the highest point of your lift. That's your inhale.
And then exhale. Reverse that same thing. Trying to match the flow of your hands to your torso, your hips. And keep going on your own a couple of times and make this feel good for you. So if you don't like that matching hands and hips business, don't do it. Go slower, go faster. Maybe you just hold the bridge. Moving with your breath or simply breathing if you're in a static pose. You don't always have to go as far as you can. You go as far as what feels right to you today. One more time. And let's hold it this time. So lift your hips all the way up if they aren't already. And if you want, clasp your hands behind your back, walk your shoulder blades toward each other, and really push into your feet, lifting up your hips. Another breath or two, and then make your way down. When you get onto your back, hug your knees in. I didn't forget pigeon on the other side. Hug your knees in and rock left to right a little bit. If that feels good. And then if it feels good, begin to rock forward and back. Forward and back. I usually love doing that, but because of this little injury I have, I'm not going to do that, but rock forward and back until you get to a seated position. And when you get to seated, cross your legs, put your hands on the floor, and step or jump back to either plank or down dog. Make your way to downward facing. Last down dog here. Hold it for a minute. Engage your quadriceps. Push your knees back. Push your hands into the ground to lift your hips even higher. Let your head be heavy. Maybe biceps in between, ears in between biceps. And then pigeon on the left side. Bring your left knee behind your left wrist. Maybe walk your right knee back a little bit. And come on down. Let your head rest either on the ground or blocks or stacked fists, whatever you like. So what is your story? What's your story? What is your story and how does it evolve? And how has COVID fit into your story or changed your story? And do you like your story? Do you feel bound, confined by your story? And there are, there are, like I said, where you're born, what your address is, what your age is, whatever. There are certain facts. But those facts do not need to define us unless we let them. And certainly, the things that are more interpretation than fact don't need to define us. Right? You ever been hanging out with somebody and you say, oh, remember that thing that happened this way? And they say, what? That thing didn't happen this way, it happened this other way. Both are true. It's different versions of the story. So do you like how you show up in your story? And if you don't, what do you want to do about that? How can you soften the story? How can you change the story? Or how can you change your reaction to the story if the things that are true or unchangeable, if the things that are unchangeable, if the things that are unchangeable, that's where I just got stuck. But there are certain things that are unchangeable. If you can't do anything about that, then you can still do something about how you're showing up around that. Bring your hands up, chest up, sit on your left hip, and this time sit up and come to a straddle position. Oh, you know, I'm going to do something. We'll come to that in a minute. Keep your strap handy if you have it. Walk center. Maybe you want to try, well definitely try to crawl forward and out rather than down. Right? No chin to belly button action. As best as you can, as best as you can. Maybe you want to grab your big toes. Breathe. There isn't a final destination here. This is a practice. It's a journey. And our breath is a lovely, lovely barometer, telling us how far to go. And so are our muscles and our tendons and all of those things. So if you can lay all the way flat, your chest on the ground, great. If your legs are practically out in a wide split, great. If your legs are hardly split open at all, great. You're listening to what your body can do. Back up. And cow face or cross-legged with your strap. So cross-legged, cow face would be, have your right shin on the bottom. Cow face would be you bring your knee straight out in front, and then you bring your left knee on top of your right, trying to stack your knees on top of each other. Maybe you lift up and resituate your hips, try to have your feet even. And if this is like not accessible to you, simply be in a cross-legged with your left shin forward. Take your strap in your left hand and drop your left hand elbow up behind your back, and then reach your right hand behind your back and up. And try to clasp your fingers together, but if you can't do that, then you're hanging onto the strap. Try not to let your left forearm push your head forward too much. Breathe. If you need more, only if you need more, I don't need more, I'm good. Bow forward. What you definitely need more of is breath. Breathe, breathe, breathe. If you're right-handed, which most of us are, this is pretty intense on your right shoulder right now. So breathe. Good deal. It's intense on your right shoulder. Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. Release. Let your right shoulder come out easily. Maybe roll a couple of times. And let's switch sides. So you can simply switch legs. You can do that twisty thing I showed you, or sometimes it's fun to come up on your head. If you got that in your practice, just switch your legs and come on back down. It's been a while since I've done that. So now you've got your right knee on top, your left knee on the bottom, your left shin, whichever is your version. And then take your right hand this time, strap if you're using it, right elbow by your ear and drop your hand back behind you. Left hand comes behind your back and up, and you try to clasp fingertips or just hanging onto the strap. So if you are left-handed, this is going to be tougher for you. Breathe. Try not to let your right forearm push your head too forward. If you need more, bow forward. You don't need more, stay exactly where you are. Smile. Fake it if you need to. Life is so, so hard, but you can still smile. It sounds really cheesy, but this incredibly beautiful hummingbird, iridescent, like really iridescent red throat, and iridescent green back, came on my feeder, and it was like a little blessing in my morning. Release your arms. Circle your left shoulder around a couple of times if that would be nice for you. And then simply, in whatever way works for you, make your way to your back. And help you move in. Rock left to right. Lift your feet up. Bring your knees to either side. Happy baby. Either side of your body. Pull your feet down. Pull your knees down. Try to put your butt on the floor as you're doing that. And then let your right leg, I said right, keep your right leg in. Let your left leg go long. Spinal twist. So you don't have to keep that hand position. I don't even know if you can do a spinal twist with that hand position. Right knee across your body or other side if I messed you up there. At 1 o'clock right now, so I'm going to finish this up quickly. Going back to center, switch sides. Guide your left knee across your body. Maybe turn your head to the left, tee out your left arm. Going back to center. Then lay in Shavasana. Lay on your back, arms facing, palms facing up, arms long. Maybe push the back of your head into the ground and lift your shoulders up a little bit and walk your shoulder blades toward each other. And then relax back down. Your arms are probably going to come out a little bit wider. So I want to honor our time here together. And we are, it's 1:02. So if you have a few more moments, maybe you stay in Shavasana. Otherwise, come on up to a seated position. And wherever you are, please, please, please take a few moments for gratitude. Something that you are grateful for. I am grateful that we can meet virtually and practice together, albeit kind of not together at the same time. Thanks for joining me on Wellness Wednesday. I know that GOCA has been sending out a survey. If you wouldn't mind filling that out, that would be awesome. I would love to hear your questions, comments, and especially your feedback. Namaste.